What's going on, y'all? It's the Abroad DJ Podcast with your boy DJ DCaso. This is a behind the scenes of everything that I had to go through trying to make season 1 for all of you. I'm going to talk about all the motivations, any issues that I came up with, and ultimately why this was a dope idea and why I loved it. You feel me? Roll the credits. What's going on, y'all? Again, it's DJ DCaso holding it down for the Abroad DJ Podcast. I just had to let y'all know I'm so proud that I was able to knock out season 1. And hopefully all of you took a chance to check it out and enjoyed it. I've had some pretty dope DJs on there, producers as well, that have done some amazing things in their life, traveled the world with some of your most favorite artists. And I felt like that was my motivation behind creating this podcast in the first place. If you watch episode 8 of season 1, I was on there with my brother DJ Foreign, and we switched seats.
You got DJ Foreign. I took over the seat. You see, we switched places, right?
We did. And he was just telling you about all the struggles and the reasons that I started this, but I felt I should break it down. You feel me? Just a little bit more. So first, let's talk about my motivations for starting this podcast. Firstly, I just wanted to challenge myself. I feel like nothing's worth it if you don't challenge yourself. Shout out to the homies over at It's Lit's Boston Podcast. They were the ones that kind of put that battery in my back. And again, I spoke about it in episode 8 of season 1. It was really one of those things where I've been overseas. I've been around the country at this point, and I still hesitated to talk on the microphone. And it's crazy. Whenever I was overseas, it was a lot easier. I don't know if it's just because I wasn't around people that didn't know me, but I, for some reason, always in the state of Massachusetts, get scared, get nervous. There's butterflies in my stomach. My fingers still like shake when I touch the turntables. It makes no sense. 2 songs in, 3 songs in, 1 or 2 drinks in, it usually like breaks and I'm just in my vibe. But I still never understood that. So this is more of a challenge, speaking and doing what I love to do. And like I said, I just really wanted to see if I could do it. It wasn't something that was really being done by the people around me. Shout out to DJ Sensation. He did do a podcast. Shout out to Carlito's Wave as well. They were definitely motivating me to try to do podcasts. I just kind of pushed it to the wayside. But this, again, was a challenge for me. Secondly, reason I did it, sharing my story. I've been through some crazy things on the road, from Germany to Ireland, from Poland, when I tried to get into a car and like I experienced a little bit of racism. I don't know if it was like a communication difference. Really don't know what it was, but it was like I've had some dope experiences. Shout out to my brother Token, everybody else that's been on the road with us. Finny, what's up? But shout out to everybody that's on the road with us. And it's just like the stories that I was able to express and experience because of my brothers on the road is super dope. You feel me? I got to DJ for both Kerr and Token. And then we've just seen a lot of people along the way, which is a beautiful thing. So I just didn't want to share my story and come off as sounding like braggadocious or like I'm better than anybody else. But it's something I learned too, is that I needed to change my circles. Because if I sold my story to anybody that said I was braggadocious, they probably weren't at that level to have those conversations with, right? So that's something I did learn from this. Other thing I learned was just educating others and myself. For all of you that don't know, I used to be a teacher for a lot of years. And I've always had this passion to educate the people around me. And that doesn't mean that's from vocabulary to experiences. I want the people around me to always do better. And I want to take my experiences, my knowledge, to always push that on to other people. So that was my goal. That was something that I really wanted to do. And I hope that that was what y'all got from it. During the many conversations that I had with the other DJs on the podcast, there were so many different stories and so many lessons that were dropped on all of us. If you haven't done or checked those out yet, please. Starting out with my brother, Reef Energy. I mean, he started on Guitar DJ, Guitar Hero.
I believe, but I don't know if you ever remember the game DJ Hero.
Like, I've never heard that kind of story ever, but that definitely motivated me. And it also made me see that DJs can really start in so many different variances and end up all in the same place. Like, it doesn't matter where you start. It all just depends on where you end. You feel me? So like that's dope. Chubb was talking about the differences with artists and DJs, the relationships between artists and DJs. Same thing with E Double. Same thing with my brother DJ Deadeye. I mean, the conversation that we got into, it went for a while, but it was nothing but gems, talking about society and how people dealt with it.
They take the information that makes them feel good and they run with that. And if it's not something that makes them feel good, then
they ain't with it.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, you can't, life isn't convenient.
Let's talk about my brother Viper. Like, we just had so many dope conversations.
I always said Beyonce's lit, but she's not as lit as Rihanna.
And I feel like there's so many gems presented, and that's all I really wanted the people out there to get that knowledge, get some perspective, and figure out how to move forward with everything that was going on. So with that said, with all the good stuff, my motivations and the reason behind it, let's talk about the issues. Going into it, I've seen everybody else do it, so in my head I was like, I got this. That was a lie. That was one of the biggest lies I told myself. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get some GoPros. I'm gonna get my phone, which is gonna be great. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a lapel mic, and I got 2 lights. I got 2 box lights, 2 soft box lights. So let's run it down. Let's run it down from the beginning, right? So equipment. Let's talk about the microphones first. The first purchase I made was a lapel mic. So the lapel mics are the little mics that you see people having on their shirts. So it's usually hidden with a little box on their side and has a receiver that's connected to something else. The one I bought, I saw the good ones. They were costing about like $500-$600. I was like, I don't want to spend $500-$600. I learned that was a bad mistake. So I ended up buying the $30 set, which was a double pair. I'm gonna definitely put that information in there so y'all do not buy them. First episode that I had, we tried to use them, and it was a lot of basically from everybody moving and talking, especially with my hair running across the screen, running across the microphone. Definitely ran into a lot more issues than I thought. I was saved by the grace of my GoPros, which picked up great audio. So I was saved by the grace of my GoPros and also from my camera. So I ended up getting a boom mic. The boom mic has definitely done a lot better, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Other issue I ran into, of course, I told y'all that I was using my cell phone, which was doing well. No issues with my cell phone. Big problem I ran into, I had 2 different GoPros. So I had a GoPro Silver and a GoPro Black. Again, I'm thinking the cheap version. How do I make this work with the least amount of money spent? There's certain situations where that works, and there's certain situations where that does not work. If you know that you're going to be spending a long time doing something and you want to invest into it, actually invest into it. So having the silver and the black, video quality was garbage. Trying to match the 2 videos together and then having a phone which had better quality than each of the GoPros destroyed me, right? So I definitely had to get rid of those. Now let's talk angles. When I've been watching other people's podcasts, I was like, yo, I want to do something better. I see people have just one view, or they'll have like 2 or 3 views and things of that nature. I was looking at the people that had the money, that had the studio, that had the team. I didn't, right? So I was setting up these cameras, and as I'm looking in them, I'm thinking that I'm catching a beautiful view and it's going to be perfect. That was not the case. Certain views were cut off. Too much light was coming into this view. Another view was just catching half of the person's face, half of my face. So it's like I realized that trying to do this all by myself makes it a lot more difficult. Other thing I ran into, of course, y'all can see all this chocolatey goodness that I have. You feel me? Biggest issue that I ran into when it came to lighting, I didn't understand it, right? Not one bit. You see people take pictures and they have flash. You see video cameras and they have the little light on the top, or you in the club and you see the video man. I thought it would be just as simple as that. So I bought some little ring lights for my GoPros and my phone. Those did nothing. I had the soft boxes as well. Wasn't strong enough in the space, and I had to learn that certain lighting is necessary for certain spaces, depending on how long it is, how much depth there is to it, the length, the height, making sure that you're trying to crop out shadows. So there was a lot of issues that I was running into when it came to lighting, especially with me being darker and sitting next to a subject or a person that was a lot lighter than me. That color differentiation definitely threw everything off. So trying to learn that was something that I did not know, but in time I did figure that out. So I'm telling you again, all of this just so that y'all are more prepared than I was when I started this podcast. Other things I had to learn was about the camera settings. I didn't know the difference between 24 FPS, 30 FPS, and 60 FPS. Still don't know the difference between 24, 30, and 60. I'm using 60 now. But the reality is there are places for each of those settings, using them. Biggest issue I ran into, though, with that was the white balance. Certain images came out extremely yellow. Our tones were off. Our teeth looked like crimson and mustard. It was the most insane thing. So it's like looking at your subject before you start recording and making sure you slide that just enough. So checking out your white balance is definitely something that you need to do.